Afternoon, everybody. This is the Delinquent Show special, and we've got ourselves a special guest today. He's late because he's coming from the practice court. He's huge. He's one of our Hall of Fame legends. I'm not going to tell you until he comes. JP, in the house. What's happening, brother?
How we doing, folks? All good, all good.
And we've got the 1970 Peaky Blinders. Blakey still not changed that wallpaper, but we're going to fix that. How you doing, Blakester?
I'm not too bad, my old mate. How are you going to change my wallpaper? You could only do half a wall.
Then
The
half
bottom
the wall it is. Half the wall it is. Hey, this is going to be epic. I know that. The people are going to be waiting to see who we've got for them. He should arrive soon. We're hoping. In transit. He's just going to come off the practice court. How excited are you guys for our guest?
Well, if it goes like I'm predicting, like bonfire night, fireworks, then I'm going to be excited. This could be a classic.
Oh, yeah. Man's a legend. Can't wait to hook up again with him. I speak to him occasionally on social media, but yeah, to get the boy on live, here we go.
Blakey talking on social media. That's a laugh. You can barely get on here, lad.
Oh, what? I don't know what you're on about. I was on at 1 o'clock today, and then you told me the meeting was at 4.
There you go. It's always be prepared. Be prepared. Way to be prepared. Guys, what we've had this weekend, we've had a great weekend of football. Blakey Spurs, they've beaten Burnley. And also, Blakey's even more happier because the Reds have smashed them useless gooners who couldn't hit a barn door if they tried. And I was watching it and listening to the commentary. And I think it was, who was it? It was commentary. I think it was Caine. Caine said if they were still playing now, they still couldn't hit one. And the mighty Reds are into the 4th round. Woo-hoo!
All these Arsenal fans were all waiting for that Ivan Toney as well. Oh, he's back in training and we're going to sign him in January. He's come out today and said, no, I'm going to stay with Brentford because they've stuck by me. So they still ain't got a striker.
Ivan Toney going to Arsenal, sorry. Who's going to go to Arsenal? They don't win anything. They're chokers. They choke. I left the Arsenal. By the end of the season, they're choking. It's not even March yet, and they're like, choking.
That's what happens when you build a house out of Lego. It's all down to the Lego man.
And we've got tonight's game. Wigan, Manchester United. Is there an upset on the cards?
Well, the only upset I hope is that we get in the 5th round the winner of tonight's tie.
Oh, we don't. What you want to embarrass another team that had so many chances? Well,
no, because if you look at it, if you look at the bigger picture, tonight's match, if Liverpool get picked to play the winner of this, if United win, we get another chance to humiliate them. If Wigan win, well, there's a possibility the match could be just down the road from where I am, so I can go watch it.
So winner, chicken dinner for you, Johnny. Winner, chicken. But I don't want to say Man United. I don't want to go watch another game where they're going to park all the players, Ten Hag, Jadon Sancho. He might park himself there on the pitch, and it's a boring game for everybody to watch. That was a great game of football on last night with Arsenal Liverpool going toe-to-toe. Beautiful. And the Spurs.
Do you think United will go toe-to-toe at the weekend?
Who are they playing?
Tottenham.
Come on, you Spurs. Oh, I'll tell you what.
I think it's a way that, and we're up there, aren't we? But then again, Old Trafford's not a fortress anymore, is it? People just go in there and nick what they want and walk out the front door.
Yeah, it's like when you go to Man United, it's like bargain views. You just pick up whatever you want and leave. Imagine that. And Tottenham are going to be reinforced with Timo Werner. Oh, they're not going to be able to handle his pace. No chance. Here, on another thing, Johnny, I heard your boy's doing what my boys. He's kind of got banned a couple of times on the old Sony PlayStation chat.
It's true what they say about gingers. They have the red mist like that.
You got coaching.
If someone kicks off with him, it is all on. He goes Rambo mode, even though he's sat in his bedroom with an headset on.
Unbelievable. So what do you reckon, Blakey? Spurs going to do the business on Saturday or what?
Yeah, I think we will. I think, especially the way we press at the moment, I don't think United can cope with that. And their goalkeeper, I mean, he's worth a couple of goals, isn't he?
Oh, he's not there. Anana's playing for whoever he's playing for. He's playing for who's it? Ghana. So he's
African nations. Yeah. Oh, well, that's a shame.
I heard Sancho was going to go in goal because that's all they've got left.
Well, he's our 12th man, and he's in Africa. Oh well. Yeah. I fancy us. I do fancy us. We're playing all right.
Good.
Well, while we're talking about football, we have had a request sent in by one of our top fans. Tony Peel asks, why do we not talk about the National League football?
Right. I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll talk about National League football. We've done that. We've talked about it. Let's move on. So.
Oh, no, hang about. I used to be the vice chairman of Newport Pagnell Town Football Club. So that's that covered. They won the FA Vase.
Tony, thanks for your idea. We've covered it for you. We even had the chairman of one of our non-league football, the Blakester, Newport Pagnell chairman was on. So we've covered the National League. Johnny, well done for bringing it up. We've covered it. Beautiful. Now,
lovely.
While we're waiting for our guests, God knows where he is. He's always late. We've had some news. I know we was going to cover this in our own show, but let's cover a little bit now. The IWBF have signed the classification with the IPC. What does that mean? What does that mean to you?
Hopefully now the sport will get regulated correctly. And by that, I mean this discrimination of underclassing people, underclassing people with, they've got one hand wrong and one hand right. And it's definitely not the case. They're getting underclassified. If these people are sat in inverted buckets, anybody, as far as I'm concerned, anyone who sits in an inverted bucket has to be a 3 or above. There's no way Blakey sat maximum height could have sat inverted. Just no way.
I couldn't have sat inverted when I played as a guard, mate. If my knees, anyone that's a 2.5 with trunk issues sits with their knees dropped down, your balance is all over.
But you think about this, Blakey. If you'd have done it, there'd be more room for your chin.
To be fair, I could have sat in an inverted bucket because my chin would have still been on my knees. That would have held me up.
So when do you think?
Going back to it, there's certain people. We've got Greg with the hand disability in GB. We've got the Japanese fella. There's no way the Japanese fella is what he's classified as. It's just a case now as the way, from what I believe, IWBF are not going to change anybody classified unless they're appealed. If someone appealed Greg or someone appealed the Japanese fella, they get reclassified. If they get reclassified, they will not stay as what they are. They'll go up. And then that'll affect both Japan and GB.
Oh, well done, mate. Well done for letting the cat out of the bag. All these teams that watch our Delinquent show, you've just given them the idea. Just typical.
Oh, God. Yeah. Edit that bit out, say.
But if they're reclassified at the tournament, does that not come into effect at the end of the tournament? I can't remember.
Not anymore. It's immediate. It's immediate effect.
No, it's immediate.
Yeah, immediate?
Yeah, it's immediate.
Wow, if that's immediate, that can hurt you. Say you get 2 players reclassified and you've got all your lineups sorted and they go up even half a point, makes a massive difference. If you went from a 2.5 to a 3, but if you go from a 2.5 to a 3.5, they put you up a point. Everyone knows that 3.5 category is deadly because you're up against the 4s then and the 4.5s.
But at the
It's a
same
horrible
time,
classification.
but at the same time, if that's the case, and you know the ruling can change with effective immediate, well then it's about getting to a tournament prior to a major and get your player who you've got a doubt about reclassified.
Yeah, get some. Even if you got friendlies in, invite some classifiers along, and get them looked at, get it sorted so that you're going in prepared. You know exactly what you've got and how you're going to run your lineups, because otherwise you could end up at a Paralympics or a major and you could be in serious trouble.
So
now the other one, Saint.
Yeah.
The other breaking news was on Facebook. The Americans have listed the 16-player roster for this year's selections. Schulte's back. Paul Schulte.
Oh yeah,
is back.
I think that he'd be a great one to have on here because like his career has spanned a long time. He's making me look old.
I've had enough of seeing Paul Schulte from long distance. Look at the damage he can do from distance.
Isn't it strange? All of these teams have had camps over January. They've cut down their teams. Where's ours? What have we done? Where's our?
That's what I was going to say next. If the Americans have just listed the 16-team roster that they're going to pick the Paralympic team from, do we put a roster up? And how many's up for selection? How many's got a chance of breaking in?
Well, I saw.
Do you think we'll post a roster?
No, because I saw before they had a team of about 30, 35 that tried out because they were all on the Facebook. The girls as well, the USA girls. We know the French are in camp now. Where are ours? Are they?
Well, our guys had probably the guys on the fringes had a over under 30s tournament, so they've must have had a look at them then. Two massive games against Japan, so they've had a good look at them, haven't they?
Yeah, but who's having a look at them? Don't forget, we don't have an official head coach. The men.
We just
wing how can we put a 16-team roster together to pick a Paralympic 12 from if we don't have an official head coach, a full-time head coach? Or better still, how can you plan training sessions when you haven't got a coach that's making the decision on who needs to be invited?
Looks like we just did it on the fly.
But when have they got a camp scheduled? Does anyone know? I mean, I know we've got contacts and we can probably find out, but
they've got a camp in Malaga this month, and then that's it. Then till Easter.
Is that because a lot of them are playing over in Spain, so they can't fly back? Yeah.
No, it's cheaper to have it in Malaga than it is to have it here, because don't forget they're financially struggling. The GB men.
Unbelievable how the days have changed since we were coach. When I was coaching and training, how the days have changed. Where, man,
we were made to come back from abroad.
Yeah, man. Hey, man.
When we had HPCs, if you had a contract abroad, you had to come back and train Monday to Thursday in this country and then fly back to your job in Spain.
We had no one. I mean, you were on a fly in, fly out, weren't you? Simon was.
I flew to Italy every Thursday and came back every Sunday night.
Yeah, but do you remember when we first got the funding, and then, well, we had John Stainton then, but when Titmus took over, and we first had Lilleshall camps, that was 5 days, Monday to Friday. Go home Friday sort of afternoon, and you were back on Monday. You had a weekend. I mean, they were brutal camps, but week long for a month just to get everything sorted. I mean, he knew what he was doing.
I can't believe you brought him up. How cool are his non-sideburns?
Okay. Okay.
Do you know what? Really, just being funny. He always reminded me of one of those Chucker brothers. Do you know the Chucker brothers?
Yeah. Me to you.
He always reminded me of them, the Chucker brothers.
Especially if he was stood next to Gary Beale. They were literally the Chuckle brothers, weren't they? With their tashes.
Oh, dearie me. Such fun, this show. It's such fun.
In other news as well, we've made contact in the last 2 days with the IPC. So originally, they have 59 games from 1992 to 1996 and 2000. They tried to bill us 98,000 for 28 of them games. Then I had a Zoom meeting with them, and we've been in emails for the last 2 days. And what they're saying now is the 11 games we've reduced it down to. They might give us some clips of footage from them. They won't give us the games. So
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous because who's I know when we spoke about it, and to give a bit of background, they were saying that, you know, they sell the stuff because some people, they're currently doing a documentary on someone from Tokyo who's obviously done well, and so they want to use his footage, so they have to sell that. But who are they doing a documentary on from 92?
Exactly.
Some of the guys aren't even around anymore, Johnny, from 92. Give us the stuff. It's all about history, not about new stars coming through. We don't want to jump on their parade. That's fair enough. But if you're not using it, give it to us, please.
Well, my proposal to them was, if you want to sell stuff, that's fine. But there has to be an expiry date on copyright and stuff. So if you've got something from 1992 Paralympics, no one's requested it in the last 15 years because it's 32 years old now. I've been in the sport. I started the same year as Barcelona. I've never seen the final, never seen that match. So there's a piece of footage there that's just being lost to history because of the dollar, basically.
Crazy situation. Absolutely crazy situation to think that those great games are out there, and you guys and everybody else who would love to see it, because there's a few games I'd love to see that were in that 1992. There's a couple in 1996 that we can't get just because it's the dollars. So all you guys out there, get your tickets on for the lottery. But to be fair, even if I was rich, I don't think I'd pay it, because I don't think we should do, because it's history that we're trying to save, and that's what this is all about. It's not about, you know, pay for this, pay for that. It's
No, but at the same time, it's like I said to John Lisco, his name is. It's like I said, he's the media managing director. I said to him, what we're doing is promoting Paralympic wheelchair basketball, which is helping your cause, if anything. So why not just give it us?
Yeah, because you'll have guys, you know, who've never ever watched the Paralympics, even though it's now on the TV a lot more, and it's really promoted because they're sort of ticking boxes and stuff like that. And also because the sport's evolved. Before they do, like 1992, they might have had a little clip on the BBC of that final, because they only did an hour-long programme. That was it, done. Possibly only half an hour. But these guys have got footage of full games that no one's seen, like yourself. I was swimming in 92, so I saw some of the games, but not the final. And they're sat on it. We need to have a GoFundMe page. let's try and, but it's $3.5 grand a game, Johnny.
Thank you. I wouldn't waste my money on a GoFund page to pay.
No, but it's not just $3.5 grand. The fact of the matter is, if you get it, they won't let you put it on YouTube because of its copyright ruling. They won't let you do it. They won't let you do it.
So what you're saying is, we could say we won the lottery, and I said, right, I'm going to get those games. Here's your 98 grand. The only 3 people that could watch them are us 3.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
Exactly.
Which makes no sense whatsoever. Absolutely.
Well, I don't like you 2 enough to share that. I'll watch them all myself.
Well, nothing changes then. Nothing changes then at all. Nothing changes at all. You just watch him yourself. Wow. Our guest has still not arrived yet. We're still waiting, but we'll continue with the show as normal. Any other news you want to talk about? I can't remember what else is going on. We've got to touch on this. This clown. Well, I don't even know if he's a clown. I don't even know what I would call him. This debate that's going around with Mr. Barton, with all of these, I don't know what to say, really. He's talking about commentators, women in particular, commentating on men's football. To be fair, I don't really have a problem with it. The problem I have is there's just loads of them that probably have not, they're not very good at it. So why are we putting them on if they're not good enough? Get them trained up to make them better at it. What's your opinion, boys, on this?
Well, mine, I just don't get it. It's this inclusion racket that they're doing. So, like, we have to include women in Sky Sports, Gillette Soccer Saturday now, like Sue Smith. Then you've got the women commentators in men's football. But then when you watch the women's WSL League, it's all women commentators, it's all women pundits. There's no inclusion of the men. So why is that? Why do we have to include the women in ours, but they're not including us in theirs? I don't get it.
I think they should be included. We should be included in both, because if you, a point you're thinking, when I remember was it the World Cup we had last year? Then they got to the final. There was no men on the commentary panels. There was none. Like, if you look at the Europeans before, and Ian Wright is a big advocate for women's football. He was on the panel.
I was just about to say that, saying, Ian Wright, he's always pitch side, though. He doesn't commentate, but then he doesn't commentate a lot on men's football.
He wasn't even in the studio. He wasn't even in the studio at the Worlds. If you look at it, he wasn't even in the studio. I don't even remember him being on it. So, like, if you're going to do it, if you want women to be in the men's game, we've got to have it vice versa. The same, like I found after Black Lives Matter, we had all of these black stars, so-called stars, all appear on the TV. Some of them were good, some of them weren't bad. But my point is, where were they before all of the problems that we've had with, inclusion? Where were they? Because obviously they weren't good enough. That's why they weren't on TV. So you're just going to put them on TV just because that's the in thing to do right now?
Yeah. So basically, something bad has to happen to get a reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of the way of the world. I mean, in my opinion, that's sort of the way of the world. They might have been good enough. It's the same as black coaches in Premier League football or any football. There's very few saying, because it's been a closed shop for some time. Inclusion is good, but you're right on the other point. Only if you're good enough. If you're good enough, then you should get a chance. It's sort of opened the door for people, but these, what do you call them? The people at the top of big organisations are now thinking, well, we've got to tick this box, we've got to tick this box, we've got to tick this box. And they're still not bringing in the best of the best. They're just ticking boxes. That's where the underlying issue lies, be it disability, be it Black Lives Matter, be it women involved. They don't pick the best. They're just ticking boxes because they're scared.
Yeah, for mine, they're proud of, oh, yeah, we've got a woman referee this week and she's refereeing the Premier League. We got our first black refereeing the first time in 50 years. That's not something to be proud of. What's that to be proud of? You should be embarrassed that a woman hasn't been in the Premier League if they're good enough. And like, I've watched her referee and she's pretty good. She's really good. You should be embarrassed. Absolutely. Hold on, Johnny. I don't know what. Just gone for. Our guest is here. Our guest has arrived. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Delinquent Show. Our Hall of Famer, Stevie Caine. What's happening, Stevie? Stevie's just come straight from the court where he's preparing his team for the repertoire. How you doing, Steve? Oh, long time no see. Are you there, Steve?
You couldn't write this.
Oh my goodness. We thought we've had him. Is he there?
You got me now?
Yay!
Yay!
Welcome to the Delinquent Show, Steve-O. How you going, brother?
Not too bad. It's good to be on. It's been a while since I saw you all.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while. Definitely. Hold on. The Blakester is in the house. He's just coming in. I'm just welcoming him in. We don't want to leave him out because he gets upset if we leave him out, Steve. You know what I mean? He just,
There you go.
he's just that kind of guy. Gets all upset.
Oh,
There he is. Peaky Blinders himself. He's just coming in. Hey, Steve, we may not have long, so we need to get you back on. So we're just going to get straight into it. Straight into it.
All
what
right.
are you doing with yourself? Why are you not over here doing your thing here?
That's what everybody asks me.
Well, now to tell them.
At the moment, I'm working for
Oh,
the
boo.
French wheelchair basketball team.
Yeah.
The other side. And that's one reason why I'm not back in England.
How's it
And then
going?
the way things went down as well, it was kind of difficult.
So we all want to know how things went down because
Yeah.
you didn't
I
get a
thought
chance
you
to
might.
coach the girls. You didn't get a chance to coach the men. How did it all go
Yeah.
down?
Yeah, the problem was the system had changed. And with the introduction of all the new professional women's teams, part of the funding went to fund these teams or to help fund these teams. And what they didn't want to do was pay for two coaches to do the same job. So they made me redundant.
Yep. But now they've got another head coach.
Yeah, they've got a Spanish guy who coached Illumium last year. They've got him. I don't really know him, to say the truth. I can't really comment.
So,
Yeah, well, we can say.
Look at Blakey. Oh my God, Blakey, you look like your dad.
That's
Look like your dad. What's going on?
I hope not. He's been in the ground a long time.
That's what I mean. You look like your dad. See you in about 20 odd years.
Oh, it's nice to see you as well, Steve. Looking well. Christ's sake. No, but how's that happened, Steve? Because the funding for national teams, when I was playing and when the boys and you were playing, was all to do with national teams. Can they shift lottery funding now to fund leagues?
No, it's not so much that. What it was it's a collaboration with the universities. But they say that they put part of the money in. I'm not sure if they really did put anything in, to tell you the truth. But to save on the cost, they already had the coaches of each women's professional league. The objective was to make them the assistant coaches. Okay, so then that meant the assistant coaches I was the only one at the time, actually, because the men's didn't have assistant coach. So I was the only one, so I was made redundant. But then I applied for the job, the women's head coach's job, but I didn't get an interview.
You didn't make it to the interview stage, the same as City didn't.
I didn't make it to the interview stage. I was kind of shocked, really. Everybody else was shocked. Even the people, because they hired a professional company, a private company, to do all the interviews, to round up, to go headhunting. So they approached me. When I gave them my CV, they said, "Oh, you should definitely make the top 6." And then when they contacted me and told me that I had, and I asked them why, they couldn't give me a reason. They didn't know why. They were shocked. They were in shock as well.
Yeah.
Do you think
But it is
could
what
be
it
for the
is.
same reason? Do you think it could be for the same reason that City never made it to the top 6?
Got lost in the post, lad. Got lost in the post.
Got lost in the post.
Carrier pigeon. So my
You
point
know, you applied for it.
now we're getting to the nits and grits of it. So they were blaming the company that they used, but clearly it doesn't look like it was the company that they used. It's the people that are actually sitting in the office and rejected us.
Yeah.
Saint never got Saint. You never even got
I didn't even get a reply.
a response. You didn't get a
You
response.
didn't get a reply.
No, man.
No, but when we went and had a meeting with them, they said there'd been an error on the system and his application hadn't gone through correctly.
Which
All
was
right.
that was probably
Well-
the third application I put in, because I did put in for the men's one as well, and that kind of got lost
Yeah.
in space.
And the under 25s.
I think I'm blackballed, to be fair. That's what I think. Because, like, tell me, and I've got to ask this question, Steve, are there any better coaches in that are British than yourself? And I'll put myself in there as well. Are there any better ones that they could have had?
I don't think there's much better in the world, to tell you the truth.
Oh,
Because what I'm learning,
I'm a
what I'm
world
learning
leader. Yes, Stevie Caine, we're world leaders.
Yeah, 'cause I've worked in a few countries now, and I've realized that the problem is the same problem everywhere. Nobody really puts any effort into developing coaches, and especially when you go to Italy and Spain and so on, they prefer to save the money to pay the players rather than invest in coaching. And this is the major problem with GB. They never really invested in coaches, and then the ones that they had there, I don't know what it is. It just don't. They didn't seem to value us.
Yeah.
They didn't seem to value our experience or anything like that, which makes it kind of strange, really. Yeah.
But do you not think it's strange right now that the men don't have an official full-time head coach because they can't afford one?
I don't think it's that. I think it's, if I'm being honest with you, because I said to them, there's no longer a centralized program. So if there's no longer a centralized program, why do you need full-time coaches?
True.
But it's
Why do you need
crazy.
them? If you're not going to see your players, the issue that I had was I wasn't going to see anybody until probably when I took over from Simon Fisher in that short space of time to get them ready for the Europeans. Just after that, we were preparing for the World Championships. But you're not going to, because the girls didn't want a centralized program, it meant you won't see anybody until March. So if you're not going to see anybody until March, why do you need full-time coaches?
Can I just?
That's what we've just been talking about.
Can I just pick?
We've been talking about the fact that if there isn't, USA have just released a 16-team roster to make the Paralympic decision from 16 players.
Yeah.
Now, GB men have got one camp in Malaga in January, and then they go to the Easter tournament. Where's the roster? Who's going to break through? No, it's all behind closed doors. It's not there for everyone to see.
It's a difficult. It's difficult because now you don't have the academy. Because when I was working there, when I moved back in 2018, we created an academy with loads of young players, right? When COVID hit, the academy stopped. And then we thought they were going to start again, but they didn't start it again. That was it. That was the end of the academy. The academy for the women, the academy for the men.
Yeah.
For the women, it's not too bad because they have these 4 professional teams. So they will have an influx of players coming from there. Whereas the men's team, it's difficult because who sees them? You've got 2 coaches for the men's team who live in Canada. I don't know when they're going to get the chance to see them.
But who looks at any players that are going to break into that, Steve? I mean,
I don't know. That's the hardest part of it. How do you go about? How do you do it? Because the structure was supposed to be the top division teams were supposed to film their games,
Yeah.
and send them to the federation so the federation can put them on the site, and then that gave the coaches a chance to see the players, reduce the amount of traveling and see the players.
I just I don't get it. I mean, a point you made earlier, the players didn't want a centralized system. I mean, back in the day, you were lottery funding and stuff. We were told this is a camp. You've got to go to this camp if you want to play for Great Britain. And that was down to the coach. and we had loads, didn't we, at Lilleshall? It was hard work and a bit of grunt, but it made team chemistry. You can't just pull a group of guys together and say, okay, you've all played in the league over here or whatever, or in your independent leagues in Spain, and now you've got to play as a team. The chemistry, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm old, but I'm old school as well, but you can't build chemistry. We had an interview with Kylie. Don't know if you saw it. They've got loads of homegrown coaches. They don't go looking anywhere else, and they pick the best players, but not the superstars. They'll pick a player because he fits into that team character-wise.
Yeah, no, it's right in what you're saying, but it's a difficult situation because when we were centralized, but not in the sense that we're living in the same city. Like these guys, when they were centralized, they were more or less living in the same block of flats. And it starts to affect you. The psychological part of it, it can be kind of tough. And the amount of training that they were doing, it was maybe too much. But the problem was then they gave them the option to play abroad. They never gave play abroad. They gave them the option to play abroad because of the level of the competition in England, and which wasn't quite the same for us because the level that we were playing in England, we were playing in the Champions League. We were getting to finals and stuff like that. But then once they allowed players to move abroad, the standard went down. Teams weren't as good. But they gave them that option because basically it's a chance to play more games against the best players in the world. And they were supposed to have the guys have a camp every month. So the players come back. But when I say camp, it's not 2 or 3 days, it's like 4 or 5 days. So they spend all that time together. And then once the league's finished, then they centralize again. So then they're together again probably for a couple of months, 2 or 3 months.
So, Stevie, let's move on to some more interesting stuff. Enough about that and all of that. Let's talk about your career, my man. Let's talk about your career. How did you start playing this game?
How did I start playing this game?
How did you start?
Yeah, I had an accident. Then I had an accident at the age of 14. And part of my rehabilitation, to tell you the truth, because there wasn't a lot open to disabled athletes or anybody that wanted to play disabled sports. And basketball just seems to be the only thing that was around because you try to.
And where was that?
Yeah.
Where was that?
So I had my accident in '79. So then the hospital that I was in, they had a team, Pinderfields. So I joined their team. I wasn't old enough to drive, so somebody had to pick me up and take me to training. And then when I turned 18, I had a chance to play with GB, but I knew I needed to go to a better team to learn more. So then that's when I started traveling to Southport. So I traveled to Southport like 2 times a week. But I didn't have much money, so it was kind of difficult, you know. But I knew I had to do it. I had to do it. If I wanted to become better, I had to do it.
Brilliant.
And then when I got to 18, I had money problems. So I went and found a job. But for some reason, the basketball just kept pulling me back. And I just couldn't cope with the job. I couldn't cope with the job and playing basketball. So I gave the job up to focus on basketball.
And the rest is our history that we know that you are. You know, I remember coming.
It's not history, is it? There's something missing. Come on.
What's missing?
What happened when Stevie 1.0 went playing in America and came back to finish the article? How did that come about? And what happened?
You know, I wasn't planning on coming back, to tell you the truth.
What you were going to do?
When I got there, I was so scared. I didn't have a choice because I turned up at training And like, I turned up at training and had my jacket on. I went into the locker room, took my jacket off, took my t-shirt off, put my vest on, got ready. Then all the Americans came in. They took their jackets off, took their guns out, put them in the locker room, and I thought, what? What? And then the coach, two of them got into an argument, and the coach went, take it outside. And I went, no, they can't take it outside because one of them's got a gun in his locker room, the other one got a gun in his car. I'm thinking, no, I can't stay here. I can't stay here. So I had to go back.
Where did you play
in Kentucky?
Oh, lovely.
And how did they make?
I missed my flight.
Yourself there? How did you better yourself there as a player?
How did I? The thing is, it's just the amount of games that you play. Because while I was there, I played 62 games. In plus, I played 17 friendly games. So I went from playing like 12 games to nearly playing 80 games a season. So you don't have a choice. And because it's the old system, which is 1, 2, 3 classification.
Yeah.
You'll come up against today's day, that'll be a 4-pointer playing as a 2-pointer. So once you've beaten one player to get out the press, all of a sudden you're up against another 4. So you have to improve.
Wow. So then you came back to Great Britain and you played in a couple of Olympics. What was that?
Yeah, I came back, got selected for Atlanta. We went to Atlanta. Half the team was sick because we're trying out this new energy drink. And it had a strange effects on people. So I ended up playing quite a bit, and we got to the final, first time ever.
And then you go on from there, and you go to Sydney, 2000.
Yeah.
Tell me about
Sydney.
All the guys that are on here now. We all played in that team. What was that experience different from Atlanta to Sydney?
I think the bonding, because GB went from finishing last, to being in the top fight. Well, getting to the point where we're on the podium on a regular basis. Sydney for me was kind of tough because I have personal problems with the coach as well as Blakey knows and Pollock.
So
that's some personal problems.
The coach, because you know what I mean? Was he different?
Problems I had was I expected more from him. I expected to learn things when he came in. I learned nothing. I'm one of them players that I trained all the time and I want to be taken to that next level. And he didn't take me to any level.
Well, so then on that point, something we've been discussing and we can't figure this out. So maybe you can enlighten the world with this. What created the gap in your career from Sydney to the Gold Cup in Amsterdam 2006? That's 6 years hiatus from GB. What happened?
Yeah. Well, Titmus came to see me. And we spoke about me retiring. And I suppose I said, okay, yeah, no problem, if that's what you want. And then I turned around to him and said, to tell you the truth, Dave, I'm disappointed because I expected more from you. I expected you to coming from the running basketball game. I thought you were going to bring something and I was going to learn something from you. And I didn't learn anything. We went all the way to Portugal, right? And it was supposed to be individualized, but it wasn't. It was all team stuff. So I left and I retired, went to Sassuolo and played in Sassuolo, played with some of the best players in the world. And it was just a different ballgame. When you play club basketball at that level, it's just completely different to playing with the national team.
So did you miss the national team? Because I surely missed you because you was my partner in crime. And you buggered up without even telling me you're going. You know what I mean? Just left me hanging. You know what I mean? Left me hanging. But
I think I was left hanging too, to tell you the truth. I wasn't expecting no meeting. I get this telephone call. Can I meet you in Sheffield? Yeah, why not? Yeah, okay.
So how did you get back in the groove? That's what we want to know. So you left.
What happened was, I got this telephone call. I keep getting telephone calls. I got this telephone call asking if he could come to Rome. And I went, yeah, why not? He said, can I bring GB to Rome? I want to fix some friendly games. So yeah, no problem. I talked to the coach and we'll organize something. And then he came over and he says, oh, I've been hearing good things about you. I thought, oh, that's nice. I didn't think nothing of it. I just said, that's nice. And then we was playing the friendly games. But Carlo was kind of he was keeping me on the side. He didn't want me to start or anything like that. And we played something like 4 games. And I think I just had probably the 4 best games of my life. And that was it. He asked me to come back. But then I had some problems because, well, as you all know, that my wife, we lost the baby. So after, was it Rotterdam? Where was the World Championships? Somewhere in Holland. Amsterdam, yeah. After Amsterdam, he asked the players who wanted to come back, and it was just too much. I just couldn't cope with it. And plus, I wanted to give more to my family, so call it a day.
I had a little bit of insight into you coming back, Stevie. Just a little bit. I was a captain at the time, and we bid for the World Championships in Italy, in Rome. And me, Charlie Bethel, and the group all came to watch a game. And I saw you playing. You saying about when we came back with GB with a bet. No, I saw you playing then, and I was straight on the phone to Nigel Smith and said, Stevie Caine, we've got to get him back in. He is playing amazing. So I had a little bit of dragging you back in because we.
So it was your fault then.
Yeah, my fault. Blame me.
Definitely his fault.
Blame me. Blame me.
Definitely his fault. Hey, Stephen, because when we used to train, in the early days at the old prison, these guys want to know the story. Remember the Capri that you had? What happened with the Capri when I was packing it?
Yeah. Me and George, what happened before?
Go on.
You didn't
Let
tell
us
me about the
know.
story before.
No,
we decided to go and get fish and chips.
Go on, tell the story.
All right. So we trained in the prison, and it's the only place we could get because it was free. And we decided we were hungry because in the prison at lunchtime, they only gave us soup and a piece of pizza. That's all they ever gave us. And I think the last year that we trained, they only gave us, was it soup and a piece of bread for lunch. So everybody's starving. By the evening, everybody's starving. So they all go, let's go and get some fish and chips or something. So everybody piles into my car. So you got all these disabled people piling into my cars. We got no wheelchairs. We've got no wheelchairs, no crutches. So we set off. We went down the road. Something's wrong with the car. I thought, something's wrong with the car. Oh, we have to turn around and go back. Car's not working very well. But the only way we could turn around was to go into somebody's garden. We went into somebody's garden. We ended up behind their garage. Now, we couldn't stay there because if these people woke up in the morning and found all these disabled people in the car behind their garage, it's going to look kind of strange, ain't it? So somehow we got the car around the garage, back onto the road, and got it back to the prison. Then the day after, which was the last day, Cindy packs the car. Me and George are looking at each other and saying, that door, it ain't going to close. The boot's not going to close. Right. And I'm thinking, should we tell him? We're going to have to tell him, man. But before we had a chance to say anything, Cindy just slammed the flipping boot and the glass broke. So went from breaking down the engine, ending up behind somebody's garage, to breaking the glass in the boot, driving all the way home in the freezing cold.
That's not the way Saint tells it, Stevie. I'm
telling
pleased
you.
we
Why,
got it.
what does he
No.
say?
Blakey,
Well-
them two told me to close the boot. I know they told me to close because I heard them say, close.
You packed the boot, you packed the boot. Me and Joe said it wasn't going to close.
No, you didn't. You said it's closed. And I remember when we got home to your mum came out and she just made me laugh because your mum she was wonderful. She was so fun. She just made me laugh all the time.
Man, everybody laughed.
So you had some good times. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we haven't got long, but we're going to get you back on the show because we haven't got long. How's the prep going? Because, I don't know if you know, the three of us, our favorite player, and we call him the Magician. You got to know who we call him the Magician. How's the Magician looking for this repertoire? How is he looking?
Who's the Magician? Mario?
No,
the forward who sits with 1 foot back and 1 foot forward.
Big
Paul
giant
Victory.
guy. Got some skills in.
Like an
Nico.
able-bodied shooter. What's his name?
Nico.
Nico.
yeah, we
Yeah,
call him
Nico.
the Magician because in the Euros we just love. We watch
Like
him
him.
just because of him.
Yeah.
How's your prep going, brother? How's the prep going? Can you get to Paris? That's what we want to know.
We've got all the talent in the world, and we should be able to get there. It's difficult, really, because they're at that stage that GB were at when we were playing with them. And Nico's one of them players that he can give you. He's like a Terry. Well, for me, it's a little bit more natural than Terry, because basketball here in France is in the running game. It's not like in GB where you don't really have much of a league. Here, it's a big thing over here. Basketball's a big thing, so you get a lot of players playing from a young age, and they have such a natural touch. And Nico's coming from the running game, and he's got a real natural touch, a nice soft touch of the ball, and he's looking really good. And some of the stuff he can do with the ball, the shots that he can make, he's like Patrick Anderson, but slightly. I think he's more deadlier in the sense that he's a pure shooter. He just wants to score.
Right, Stevie, from now
will
on,
do loads more other stuff.
So now on,
He'll
you
score.
can tell him the delinquents call him the Magician. That's what we call him. We love
But
watching.
he does speak English. Why don't you have him on his show?
Oh my God, Blakey will collapse and fall. He will collapse.
Get him on. Get him on.
Get the
I
Magician
came up with the name, the Magician. I mean, there was one game. I don't know if it was Europeans or the Dubai one, the Worlds, but some of the stuff he did, and he's got that massive long chair like Bruno back in the day used to play in, but his chair skills are unreal. I mean, he's not the quickest, but his ball handling, like you say, was soft touch, and he passed the ball behind his back into the key, but bounced past it behind his back into the key for someone to score a layup. And
Blakey,
it's just all instinct with him.
Blakey, put your tongue back in, lad.
I know it's like
dribbling. You're dribbling, all sorts are coming. We're gonna get the Magician on. Stevie's promised us he's gonna get the Magician on with Steve. We're gonna have them both on together. Gentlemen, we've run out of time for the Delinquent Show.
Oh no,
Stevie, we need you back just before you go on your repertoire. We need the Magician on. Johnny, thank you for coming on the Delinquent Show. And you've been good as usual. Blakey, put your teeth back in, lad. You're dribbling because of the Magician, man. Stevie Caine is in the house. We love you, Steve-O. We want more of you. Keep watching the Delinquent Show. Peace out, everybody.
Cheers, Steve.
See you, boys.
cheers, mate. Nice to see you.
Likewise.